Everyone, and welcome to the 48th Annual Commencement Ceremony for HJ International Graduate School for Peace and Public Leadership. Thank you so much for joining us. Many of you have come from near and far to celebrate the graduates on this very special day. And I just want to recognize we have those of us in the audience physically present, and we also have those who are joining us virtually through Zoom. So we just welcome you. I have a couple of housekeeping announcements to make before we officially begin. First of all, for those of you who are unfamiliar with our space, we do have restrooms located behind the auditorium if you just go out those doors. Also, just take note of the exits around you. We have a few set of doors, just to be, like I sound like a flight attendant. Also, as we know, this is a digital age, so please make sure that your cell phone is on silent so we do not disturb the ceremony once we've begun. And finally, keep in mind that we do have refreshments available for you after the program, which will be in the blue room across the foyer. And we will also have an opportunity to take group photos of the graduates and also of our faculty, staff, and board of trustees. And we'll make that announcement as well again. And for those of you who are very excited to see your loved ones on stage, please know that they're being photographed and that you will be able to have access to those photos in the future through our HJI website. Okay, at this time I would like to invite everyone to please rise as we begin the procession.
Mr. President, the Assembly is gathered. We may now commence with the ceremony.
Thank you, Dr. Mickler, the bearer of the mace. Please, everyone, you may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, members of the clergy, members of our Board of Trustees, faculty, and administration, our honorary doctorate recipient today, graduating students, families and friends, and alumni, welcome to the 48th annual commencement exercises of the HJ International Graduate School for Peace and Public Leadership on this 25th day of May, 2024. Welcome and thank you for coming today. And to begin our ceremony, I invite Dr. Drisa Coney, the director of our Doctor of Ministry program and Associate Professor of Conflict Resolution and Ministry, to offer the invocation. Dr. Coney.
Thank you. Okay, join me in prayer. In the name of God, the most merciful, the most gracious, creator of the universe, parent of humankind, beloved true parents, as we gather for the 48th annual commencement ceremony to celebrate our graduate and their families, we do not want to forget all the troubles that the world is facing these days. We can all imagine how much your heart is in pain to see the suffering going on in many parts of the world. We pray that you can comfort and heal the pain of those who suffer through injustice. And we pray that you can give strength and courage to those who you have called to serve you so that they can stand strong against the evil forces of this world. Bless our graduate and keep revealing yourself to them and guide them in the next step for their journey as they become peacemakers, ministers, and healers of this world. We are so grateful to Father and Mother Moon for offering HJ International to America so that we can contribute to the world providence in such a unique way. Heavenly Parent, fill this room now with your spirit of peace and joy so that we can all celebrate as one family under God. In your holy name, we have offered this moment to you. Amen, Ajur, and Salamu Alaikum.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kone, for your heartfelt words of prayer. At this time, I would like us to all rise. Our singer of the national anthem is currently stuck in traffic, but on this occasion, we are getting ready to celebrate Memorial Day weekend, and so I just asked us to take a moment to put your hand on your heart if you'd like to, and just honor this day, those who have come before us, and those who continue to serve and give their lives for peace and for hope. All right, thank you so much. You may be seated. On this great May Day, we are here to honor the graduates of the class of 2024, the 48th graduating class of HJI. And this year, we are honored to have with us Dr. Ki-Hoon Kim, member of the Board of Trustees and chair of WCLC, to offer special remarks. Let us welcome Dr. Kim.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And congratulations that 48th annual commencement ceremony, and especially all candidates for today's graduation. And as a board of directors, UTS and HSA, we fully support each one of you. And from today, also, we are very glad you become world peace makers for the sake of worldwide situation and our social institution. And we are so grateful, and especially HSA Board of Directors, we fully support and UTS your wonderful and continuing advanced for the sake of world peace activities and social leaderships relationships, especially and our faculty members, centering on President Dr. Walsh and all our staffs. We are so grateful for your ongoing support, our students and worldwide the situation. How can we bring world peace today more than anything else this world? So once again, thank you so much for your wonderful job, 2 years, and we have 40 plus leaderships again for world peacemakers. So this is great news to all of us and to the world and for the sake of world peace. Thank you, and once again, congratulations.
Kim, thank you. Our next speaker is Reverend Damian Dunkley, member of the Board of Trustees, Chairman and President of Family Federation USA. Reverend Dunkley is unfortunately unable to be with us in person today. He's out of the country. However, he did provide a recorded greeting for all of us, so let's take a moment to listen.
Congratulations to HJI for celebrating its 48th graduation. We're coming up close to 50 years. And a special congratulations to the HJI graduating class of 2024. We are all very excited about the future of this school under the profound, sincere, diligent, and very professional visionary leadership of Dr. Thomas Walsh. Thank you, Dr. Walsh, for your incredible leadership, and a big shout out to all of our faculty, our staff, the Board of Trustees, and everyone who has been working, praying, and supporting this school over nearly now half a century, so all the way going back. Thank you to our dear founders for having the vision to set this in motion. You know, I graduated from this school in 2020. Remember, COVID lockdowns. I was in a hotel room in Bangkok, extreme thunderstorms clapping and shattering against the glass behind me. I was in quarantine, and that's where I was, the other side of the world, when I graduated. But I tell you, the years I spent there with the teachers and the other students, friends, I enjoyed it a lot. It was quite different, honestly, from what I expected, but I enjoyed every minute of it. So I'm very grateful, and a big thanks again to all those who supported me through my experience. Now, I was also recently honored, thank you, Dr. Walsh, honored to be able to co-teach a class with you, the course on ministry and public leadership in America. That was a lot of fun. I shared quite a bit of the content that I've been sharing on the Blue Dragon Tour, which literally just concluded, and I'm looking forward to sharing more of that with our students and with our members across the nation very soon. But in the meantime, I just wanted to say congratulations, thank you so much. Sorry I'm not there with you in person. I'm actually attending my daughter's graduation just on the other side of the world in Bangkok, where I was when I graduated at the former UTS, now HJI. So just thank you all for your hard work. Thank you for your studies and your efforts. And let us inspire many more people from around the world and young people across America to sign up for their HJI course. There's a growing portfolio of very interesting classes, so spread the word. And in the meantime, pat yourselves and each other on the back. Great job, guys. Thank you so much. And as we say over here, kopum kap and sawadee kap. Thank you, Dr. Walsh, and everybody. Thank you. God bless you.
Okay, at this time, Dr. Walsh, I'd like to welcome you up for the conferral of the honorary doctorate.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Ki-Hun Kim, and of course, Reverend Damian Dunkley. Our greetings, our love to halfway across the world. I'm very, very honored and happy to say that we have a very distinguished individual whom we will recognize this afternoon with the Honorary Doctor of Humane Letters degree to Ambassador Joseph Detrani. To tell you a little bit about Ambassador Detrani, I will invite a dear friend of his and a great colleague to me and a member of our Board of Trustees and the President of Universal Peace Federation International and the chair of the Washington Times Foundation and a number of others to read the citation honoring Joseph Detrani. Dr. Jenkins.
Thank you, Dr. Walsh. Citation. Ambassador Joseph Detrani, you served as the special envoy for the six-party talks with North Korea and the U.S. representative to the Korea Energy Development Organization from 2003 to 2006. In addition, you were the Associate Director of National Intelligence and the Mission Manager of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea 2006 to 2010, and the Director of the National Counterproliferation Center and Senior Advisor to the Director of National Intelligence from 2010 to 2012. Ambassador Detrani, you also served as a member of the Senior Executive Service of the Central Intelligence Agency, Director of East Asia Operations, Director of European Operations, Director of the Office of Technical Services, Director of Public Affairs, and Director of the Crime and Narcotics Center. Furthermore, you served as an officer in the United States Air Force and were a recipient of the Commandant's Award as a distinguished military graduate from the New York University. Mr. Ambassador, you were President of Intelligence and National Security Alliance and President of the Daniel Morgan Graduate School of National Security. You currently are Professor at Missouri State University and of the Graduate Department of Defense and Strategic Studies and are a member of the advisory boards of Sandia National Laboratories and the National Security Agency. You serve as a moderator for the Washington Brief, as a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, and the National Committee on North Korea, and a fellow at the Institute of Korea-American Studies. You have received numerous government awards and awards from foreign partners. Mr. Ambassador, you have published and spoken publicly about the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, China, East Asia, and the Middle East, and on international crime and narcotics trafficking and nuclear non-proliferation. For your many accomplishments and for your exemplary leadership, we honor you this day with a doctorate honoris causa in humane letters from the H.J. International Graduate School for Peace and Public Leadership.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. Ambassador Detrani, on behalf of the HJI International Board of Trustees, our faculty and administration, I am pleased to confer upon you this honorary doctorate of humane letters in recognition of your life of outstanding accomplishments. And I now call upon Dr. Ki-Hun Kim and Dr. Franco Famularo to place the doctoral hood upon you, recognizing the conferral of this degree. So you can stand here a little bit over this way. Yeah, let's take a, please stand together just for a photo. And thank you. And now, Mr. Ambassador, I confer the diploma. And now let's welcome Ambassador Detrani to deliver the commencement address.
Thank you. It's an honor being here. Thank you. I prepared a few words. And again, this is a very special day for me also, and it's a special day for all of you, the students, the graduating students, and certainly the families. I had put it on the wrong side, but I got it on the right side. Okay, there you go. There you go. All right. Listen, let me just say it's an honor to receive an honorary doctorate from this distinguished graduate school for peace and public leadership. And certainly congratulations to the graduates and their families for their hard work and academic accomplishments. It's not been easy, but you persevered and you succeeded. Good for you. And to the president, Dr. Tom Walsh, and his distinguished faculty and administrative staff and trustees for providing the academic training necessary to be ambassadors for peace. That's so important. Ambassadors for peace. All of you are now prepared to embark on a journey that will help bring peace and stability to an international community racked by wars and conflict. The challenges are so many. Whether it's Russia's war in Ukraine or Israel's war in Gaza against the Hamas terrorist organization, or the internecine conflict in Sudan, or tension with China in the South and East China Seas, or certainly the Taiwan Strait, and we're seeing this in the newspapers as we speak, or gangs and chaos in Haiti, or tension with North Korea on the Korean Peninsula. The list of wars and conflicts goes on and on. Indeed, food insecurity, clean and potable water, climate change, cyber theft, disinformation, artificial intelligence, and so many other issues that require immediate attention for the common good are the challenges you will be confronting. And hopefully, and I'm confident this will happen, hopefully helping to resolve. And you are prepared to do that with the training, the academic training you've gone through. You will be the ambassadors for peace. You, the graduates of HJI, would not be here today if you did not care about these and other issues that negatively affect the global community. You worked, and certainly you worked hard for this, and you would not be here today after working as hard as you have academically if you felt you could not, and I emphasize this, you could not contribute to solving the vexing problems that affect so many people. You know, I've been doing this for a number of decades, and that's why it's such an honor being here today with all of you, and certainly with Dr. Walsh and the faculty here, and certainly Dr. Jenkins, because we've done a lot of work together in South Korea, in Japan, working some of these issues. And you are the successors. You will be carrying this torch. I'm here today to tell you that you can and will make a difference in addressing these daunting issues, that regardless of the organization you're affiliated with, whether it's the United Nations or a government agency or an NGO or a private sector company, a church or any other affiliation, or as a private citizen. Yes, as a private citizen, you make a difference. And certainly you are concerned and will be concerned about your fellow man. That's why you're here. That's why you've gone through this program. Your fellow man and woman. And you can and will make that difference. Remember, just keep that element in mind. You can and will make that difference. Indeed, you are needed more now than at any time since, at least I remember, the end of World War II, as the world becomes more polarized with the resurgence of tribalism and the proliferation of nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction. My message to you, however, is that with your education and training, coupled with your determination to help bring peace and stability to so many people affected by some of these critical issues, it requires and I emphasize this, a positive attitude. That progress can be achieved, that you can make a difference, that you should never give up on hope. Do not give up on hope. Hope that many of these seemingly intractable issues can and will be resolved. Since 2003, I've devoted a good portion of my professional efforts to help peacefully resolve the North Korean nuclear issue. As a special envoy for six-party talks with North Korea from 2003 to 2006, and in subsequent meetings with senior North Korean officials in Singapore for the release of the two American journalists in 2009, and in subsequent unpublicized trips to Pyongyang to meet senior North Korean officials, and then until 2017, in track 1.5 meetings in London, in Kuala Lumpur, in Singapore, with senior North Korean officials. I was confident, and I still am confident, we could peacefully resolve issues with North Korea. A colleague of mine yesterday, from many years back at graduate school in New York, said, "Joe, why are you persisting? How could you have any confidence? How could you have any confidence seeing what's going on in North Korea?" And I said politely, the person's a dear friend, that attitude shouldn't be the pervasive attitude that generates so much conversation in Washington and throughout the country, that this is an intractable issue. They will never give up their nuclear weapons. We will never have a normal relationship. And I just said to the person, and I say it now to all of you, that's not the right attitude. If you have that attitude, you will never succeed. You will never succeed. If you feel there will be no change and they are not capable of changing, we will never see success. Certainly not with North Korea. In 1993, North Korea was threatening to make Seoul, South Korea, a sea of flames. We'll just destroy South Korea. We'll just destroy Seoul, a sea of flames. There was understandable concern that there would be, again, a war on the Korean Peninsula. Having witnessed the massive casualties and destruction from the Korean War in 1950, and understanding clearly that the armistice in 1953 that halted the war only halted the war. A war continues on the Korean Peninsula. Fortunately, with the 1994 intervention of President Jimmy Carter, who, while in Pyongyang, was introduced to North Korea's supreme leader, Kim Il-sung, by Minister Billy Graham, who had a good relationship with Kim Il-sung. A Geneva conference was held, And it was convened, and it was successful in coming up with the agreed framework, which was memorialized in 1994. This is historic, and it really is an historic agreement. Committed North Korea to do what? To halt its production of plutonium for nuclear weapons at its Yongbyon nuclear facility. In exchange for what? Obviously, it's got to be two ways, ladies and gentlemen. Two ways. In exchange for what? The construction of 2 light water reactors in Kumho, North Korea, for civilian energy and for the provision of heavy fuel oil until those 2 reactors were operational. I was the representative for the building of those 2 light water reactors. And that was success. That was success. We were moving in the right direction. This agreement really progressed smoothly until 2002, when North Korea was accused of clandestinely enriching uranium for weapons, a violation of the agreed framework and the 1992 North-South Agreement, that neither side, both Koreas, would not produce fissile material for nuclear weapons. North Korea then left the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, and the United States and South Korea and Japan and the European Union, we halted the production of those 2 light water reactors at Kumho, and the U.S. stopped sending heavy fuel oil. Just imagine, we made progress. And in 2002, we discovered, why were they doing this with highly enriched uranium? So we stopped. But then what happens? When you stop negotiating with North Korea, when you stop talking to people, they go on their own tack, and they do their own thing. And certainly for North Korea, they did. This was now a very tense period, reminiscent of 1993, when they were threatening to make Seoul a sea of flames. When North Korea then threatened to attack South Korea. North Korea had removed over 8,000, I emphasize this, 8,000 spent fuel rods of plutonium from their cooling ponds at the Yongbyon facility. And what did they start doing? Ladies and gentlemen, in 2003, they started to make nuclear weapons. Surprise? We should not have been surprised. Fortunately, when in the U.S. in 2003, we reached out to China, and I emphasize this, we reached out to the People's Republic of China to get North Korea to return to negotiations. Kim Jong-il, who succeeded his father Kim Il-sung, who passed away in 1994, agreed, and the 6-party talks with North Korea was established with China as the host and China's current foreign minister. You see him in the newspapers every day. And you'll see him next week meeting with President Yoon Suk-yeol and Prime Minister Kishida. Wang Yi, the current foreign minister Wang Yi, was the chair of the 6-party talks, ably assisted by Ambassador Fu Yig, who was his deputy. On September 19, 2005, and please, as all of you are such good academic students and now graduates of this, it's a very, very prestigious school. Please go back to this. It's it's 2 pages, a very short joint statement of 19 September 2005. It took over 2 years of many plenary and working group meetings. We came up with a joint statement that was produced with North Korea. And what was it? What does it say? North Korea would commit to what? Dismantle all nuclear weapons and operating nuclear weapons facilities in exchange for security assurances, economic development assistance, and a path to normalization of relations with the United States, South Korea, and Japan. Let me emphasize this. A normal relationship with the United States and the Republic of Korea and Japan. This is what North Korea aspired to with Kim Il-sung. Now we're talking about Kim Jong-il. And I believe certainly with Kim Jong-un, the current leader. Implementation of this historic agreement continued into 2009 when North Korea pulled out of the 6-party talks after refusing to permit IAEA monitors to visit non-declared suspect nuclear sites. And then what happens after this? Let's keep this in mind. We stopped in 2009. And when you stop talking to North Korea, what happens? They build nuclear weapons. They launch ballistic missiles. They threaten South Korea. They threaten the United States. This is what happens. So we stop talking. What a mistake. Keep talking. And I immediately go to, with the help of South Korea, and I emphasize this, with the help of South Korea, former President Donald Trump, as you all know, had 2 summits with Kim Jong-un, the current leader of North Korea, in Singapore in 2018 and in Hanoi in 2019. While the Singapore summit provided some hope, the Hanoi summit failed, tragically, when Kim Jong-un would not declare the uranium enrichment sites, in addition to proposing to dismantle the Yongbyon nuclear site, in exchange for what? The lifting of sanctions imposed after 2016. With that, the summit ended and Kim Jong-un returned to Pyongyang. Just think of this. Think of Kim Jong-un comes to a meeting in Hanoi after a successful summit in 2018 in Singapore. And his expectations are, I will give you, Mr. President of the United States, you could dismantle all, working with South Korea and Japan, you could dismantle all of Yongbyon, our plutonium facility for nuclear weapons. And all we want from you is lift the sanctions that you imposed since 2016. And our president, our former president, said, yes, but you have other sites, those highly enrichment uranium sites. We'd like you to put those on the table. And Kim Jong-un was not prepared to go that far. So you could imagine 26 hours on a train back from Hanoi to Pyongyang, if you were the foreign minister and other officials with Kim Jong-un, it probably wasn't a very pleasing train ride. But that was unfortunate. That was unfortunate. Because just prior to that, prior to the Singapore summit in 2017, what did we see in 2017? Fire and fury. Who had the bigger button? We were talking about nuclear weapons, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, we had Singapore, the summit, and then Hanoi, and Hanoi failed. And what happens after Hanoi? Nothing. No more dialogue. And what happens when you don't dialogue with North Korea? When you don't communicate with your counterpart, in this case with your adversary, what happens? They go back to building more nuclear weapons. They go back to launching ballistic missiles. And in this case, they not only launched short-range and medium-range ballistic missiles, they launched what? Intercontinental ballistic missiles, the Hwasong-18, missiles that could reach the whole of the United States, 15,000 kilometers. And what was their nuclear test in 2017, the 6th nuclear test? It was of a thermonuclear device. Thermonuclear device. Wow. And this is where North Korea is now. They're building more nuclear weapons. They're building hypersonic weapons, submarine-launched ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, drones. This is where they are now. I will emphasize this because I think we, and the media has not picked up on this, doctrinally, the doctrine for using nuclear weapons in North Korea has changed. North Korea declared, so important, a first use policy of preemptive use of nuclear weapons to respond to an immediate, an imminent threat or perceived to be an imminent threat to the leadership or command and control. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. When I negotiated with North Korea, up until 2017, it was always as a nuclear deterrent. And as of 2020, Kim Jong-un declared very clearly, it's the preemptive use of nuclear weapons. This is major, and the first no-use policy. Currently, North Korea has signed up with, and you all know this, with the Russian Federation, supporting Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and reportedly providing artillery shells and ballistic missiles to Russia for its war in Ukraine in exchange for assistance with North Korea's satellite programs and the provision of sophisticated weaponry. With this long preamble, and I didn't want to get too deep into it, but I think it's necessary. You are all graduates for peace and leadership. You are academics, so you need to know the history. History has a way of repeating itself. Ignore history at our own peril. That's why we went through this. So with this long preamble, my message to you is that we should not give up on North Korea. We know from the agreed framework in 1994, the six-party talks, the joint statement of September 2005, and the 2018 Singapore summit that North Korea wants a normal relationship with the United States and the Republic of Korea and Japan. And Mother Moon has been working hard on this issue. Our visits to meet with, work closely with certainly Dr. Jenkins and Dr. Walsh and the team of the Washington Times Foundation, with the encouragement of Mother Moon was dialogue. Come to South Korea, talk about the issues, get people involved. Let's resolve this issue peacefully. And I wouldn't be here today if I didn't believe strongly in this message from Mother Moon. So I can't thank her enough, and the church, the Unification Church, and certainly what you're doing here, Dr. Walsh, with the school, the graduate school for peace and leadership. Let me end on this. As in 2003, this is where China needs to help to convince North Korea to return to negotiations. And this is where all of us, and all of you, especially all of you, the successors, the ambassadors for peace, need to help to convince the leadership in our respective countries that we should not give up on North Korea. That collectively we can and will get traction with Pyongyang. But courage and flexibility are needed with the goal of eventual complete and verifiable denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula and easing, if you will, the lifting of sanctions on North Korea and other deliverables to include a path to normal relations. I have heard for close to 20 years from seniors in North Korea that their one goal is a normal relationship with the United States and the Republic of Korea and Japan, and indeed the United States. Indeed, we were almost there in 2000. I talk about history. When Secretary of State at that time, Madeleine Albright, visited Pyongyang, and President Bill Clinton was prepared to visit North Korea. Giving up on North Korea now would be the biggest geopolitical mistake in the 21st century. North Korea is just one example of the many issues that all of you graduates, with the great support of your families and your professors and this great school, must work diligently on to ensure that we start to move the world in a different direction. A direction toward diplomacy, more negotiations for peace, more cooperation on pandemics, climate change, narcotics trafficking, international organized crime, nuclear proliferation, food insecurity. The list goes on and on. Stop the wars in Ukraine and Gaza and the myriad of other conflicts throughout the world and move the world in another direction. That is what leadership is all about. That's leadership. Move the world in another direction. And bringing the world together for the betterment of all people. That's what it's about. You will join the ranks of the ambassadors for peace. Much will depend on all of you to move us in this direction for the common good. Indeed, leaving a better world for our future generation. Congratulations to all of you. And your path is now very clear. Peace and leadership. And you can do it. Good luck to you. Thank you.
Bravo. Well, thank you, Ambassador Joseph Detrani, our recipient for the commencement ceremonies 2024. That speech, please be seated. I'm so grateful to have this message because you combine the realism of understanding the world's reality with the idealism and the hope that things can change, that we can make the world better. And with Mother Moon's guidance, we've recently added this component to our name. She really advised us and guided us in this direction to focus on peace, because there's surely, as you even intimated, a religious and spiritual dimension to peace, which is rooted in her vision, which you also affirmed today. So I just felt, and I think not only our graduates, but our faculty and staff were deeply grateful for this speech today. We definitely want a good digital copy of that, and because it needs to be spread more widely. So it couldn't have been a better address as we move in this direction. And for you graduates, I think you've got a long list of the critical issues our world is facing. So from a man, if you listened carefully to that citation, this is a man with so much vast experience over decades of in the trenches and throughout the world to build a world of lasting peace. So let's give him one more expression of our appreciation. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. And with that, I'd like now to invite Dr. Keisuke Noda. He's the Associate Provost. He will present the candidates for degrees. Dr. Noda.
Mr. President, at this time, I have the honor of presenting to you the candidate for the Master of Religious Education, Master of Arts in Religious Studies, and Master of Peace Study degrees, whose names are also published in the program. These candidates, upon completion of all requirements of the degree of the study, programs of the study, are recommended for their respective degrees. All master's level graduates, once you have received your diploma and walk off from the stage, you may return to your seat. Those candidates who are unable to be with us in person today will receive their diploma in absentia, and when their names are called, their photo will appear on the main screen. Candidates for the Master of Arts in Religious Studies degree, please rise. Bruna Allen. Humbly Sybil Pascal Bonzi. Athanasius Francis C. Catalan. Mark Edward Lincoln in absentia. Margaret Repke. candidate for the Master of Religious Education degree, please rise. James Doughty. David Rosenblum, in absentia. Zemlin, in absentia.
Thank you, Dr. Noda. And now I would like to invite Dr. Gisicone, Director of the Doctor of Ministry program, and he will present the doctoral candidates.
Mr. President, at this time, I have the honor of presenting to you the candidates for the Doctor of Ministry degree whose names are published in the program. These candidates, upon a completion of all requirements of the program of study, are recommended for the degree and shall now receive their diploma and their doctoral hooding. All doctoral candidate, level graduate, once you receive your diploma and hood, you may return to your seat. Doctoral candidate, please rise. Umen P. Abraham. Edred N. McNair. Dr. Walsh, please.
Upon recommendation of the faculty and by the authority given to me by the Board of Trustees of the HJ International Graduate School for Peace and Public Leadership, I hereby confer on you the degrees of the Master of Religious Education, Master of Arts in Religious Studies, Master of Arts in Peace Studies, Master of Divinity, and the Doctor of Ministry with all the rights, privileges, and honor thereunto appertaining. Congratulations. All graduates, now please rise. You may now move your tassel on your cap from the right side to the left. Congratulations once again. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Time for my remarks, so not too long. To all our today's graduates, family members and friends who are here with us today in person, and those of you here online, you're the best. Recently, I listened to a speech that our HJI co-founder, Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon, delivered in Munich, Germany, a few days ago on May 19th, Pentecost Sunday. She said many things, but she mentioned to this audience, about 2,500 who gathered in Munich, that we're living in she referred to a golden age. Of course, like Ambassador Detrani, she's completely aware of our global reality. But she meant, I believe, that we're living at a time of great hope according to the potential of heavenly providence. Of course, she is fully aware of our world's serious challenges. It's in part why she went to Europe, where she knows in both the Middle East nearby and Ukraine, serious threats the world is facing. But in that sense, she knows we live in what Charles Dickens once said, or referred to as the best of times. That we're living in the best of times simultaneously with the worst of times. She explained that we live at a time when it is possible, as we heard moments ago, to overcome all the obstacles to peace. She talked a lot in particular about St. Paul and his ministry and kind of praised the evangelical passion, his traveling often on foot or dangerous voyages by sea, with his relentless effort, even though he had been a great persecutor of the earliest Christians. So it's the best of times to overcome and solve the worst of times, as we heard outlined by Ambassador Detrani. So if you want to change the world, you're here at HJI at the right time and the right place. I hope we can all heed these words, work together to make our HJI name more than a slogan, as you, now HJI alumni, dedicate your lives to peace and public leadership. Our dedicated, world-class HJI faculty and our staff have done their best to provide you with a high-quality education, including mentorship, to help assure your success as students, as citizens, and members of one global human family living harmoniously under God, our heavenly parent. Did they do a good job, your faculty? Yes. Okay. On that note, let me just ask us all to keep in our thoughts and prayers Dr. Jacob David, who has some significant health problems at the moment. He's undergone surgery and is in the hospital. So keep him in your thoughts and prayers, and we will be sending him some flowers and our best wishes for a quick recovery. You graduate today not only as holders of a prestigious graduate degree, but also as persons with spiritual insight and the wisdom needed to discern and navigate successfully through the competing social, cultural, spiritual currents of today's world. I feel like Ambassador Detrani set me up for some of these things to say. HJI has a covenant with its founders. The diploma you receive today is an expression of that covenant. And I know that I speak for our trustees, our faculty and staff and alumni in saying that we deeply appreciate and remain committed to the vision of our founders who established this school 49 years ago in 1975. Remember, they had just come to America only a few years earlier in 1972 as immigrants, committed to doing whatever it would take to preserve and strengthen what is best about this country. A central part of their sense of mission was to establish a world-class set of educational institutions, including a seminary and eventually a university. They persevered through the good times and the bad. No matter what, they always provided the necessary encouragement, inspiration, and support that sustained this institution and made it possible for us to provide a rigorous, broad, challenging, and horizon-expanding education, one that helped shape character, enrich the mind, and inspire the heart. That was certainly my experience during my time, together with my wife, Lynn, where we were fortunate enough to attend, then named UTS. There's not a person associated with HJI who does not long to see this school and its graduates rising up to serve the needs not only of our Family Federation community, but also the needs of the wider world, of the wider society and the world at this critical time. Our founders' vision for HJI embodies an aspiration that I believe was there throughout history, going back to Plato's Academy, where, who knows one of Plato's students? Was Aristotle, studied like you under Plato's Academy. The University of Bologna, which our chair of the Board of Trustees kept telling me about, where Dante Alighieri, is that right, Bruna? And Copernicus studied. University of Paris, where Dr. Ward, I think, studied, but also Thomas Aquinas, Jean Calvin, Francis Xavier, the great missionary to Asia. The University of Erfurt in Germany, where Luther studied. Cambridge, where Isaac Newton studied. Königsberg University, where Kant studied. University College London, Gandhi studied. Boston University and Morehouse College, where Martin Luther King studied. The great legacy of higher education, the great institutions in America, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, University of Chicago. Dr. Hendricks insisted I add Vanderbilt, were founded. Indeed, the University of Peace in Costa Rica recently honored our beloved true mother with honorary doctorate just a year ago, and the UN University itself. The aspirations of HJI are as grand and noble as these prestigious institutions. Dear graduates, please make us proud of your accomplishments and your achievements. Permit me just As many of you know, there's a section in True Mother's memoir where she talks about the importance of higher education and talks about the Little Angels Performing Arts School and Sun Moon University and Unification Theological Seminary, HJI. I'm just going to read one sentence. The purpose of all these schools, HJI, is to ensure that increasing numbers of talented young people who know God's heart have access to education to support their commitment to creating a peaceful world. That also echoes exactly what our commencement speaker said tonight. So, dear graduates, as I conclude, make us proud of your accomplishments and your achievements. Will you do that? For our part, we pledge that we will continue to work to make you proud of your alma mater. Believe me, HJI's greatest days are still to come. Your greatest days are still to come. Onward and upward, let's work together to fulfill the hope of all the ages, a world of lasting peace, one family under God, our Heavenly Parent. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Walsh, so much for your inspiring and encouraging words. At this time, we now have the privilege of hearing from some of our graduates. Let us now invite Ms. Bruna Allen, a recipient of the Master of Arts in Religious Studies, to speak on behalf of the graduates with the MA in Religious Studies.
Good evening. First of all, good evening to our beloved Dr. Kim and administrators, our esteemed guests, and the members of the faculty. Yeah, I'm moved and tremble a little bit. I forgot my speech. So, but, well, let me tell you a little bit about me. As a newcomer to the Big Apple, about 40 years ago, actually, a little over 40 years ago, and a non-native speaker, I was timid. Maybe I still am. And I made some people confused because I spoke British English. And so I went shopping for trousers and I asked, where is the lift? So people didn't know how to deal with me. But I had one great dream. I really wanted to study at UTS. But I didn't have a degree, so I couldn't. I wanted to pursue the degree, so I actually attended a couple of semesters at Queen's College, you know, the Simon & Garfunkel's alma mater. And yeah, maybe many of you don't even know who they are. Oldies like me probably do. I loved them, and I loved Queen's College. But have you ever had the experience that somehow you just can't help but say, no, maybe I can't at this time, just simply because. And my because at that time seemed to be so strong that I just could not debate with it. So I stopped, and then my family moved away from New York, and so that was it. And when I heard the UTS had the online program, then I felt so elated. I thought, okay, yeah, this time I'm going to register. I had the degree, finally. And as soon as I retired, I was in my first 3 classes. And it's been very exciting and blessing for me, and especially to be with students that, like me, came from other countries. And, you know, I'm a member of the Unification Church, and in my church, we are accustomed to dealing and maybe even living with people that come from all over the world. But at HAI, I had the opportunity to actually come to know more about their religions and traditions. And actually, I was surprised and pleased to realize how there are some similarities between those religions and my own faith. So that was really pleasing to me. And, the new name that we have now, which means fill your heart, it really shows and encompasses, encapsulates, I wanted to say, this type of attitude, in that the school motivates us and encourages us to really show that kind of quality of a child of God, of embracing everyone. And our founder, Dr. Achamo, co-founder, actually, she gives a lot of exhortations, right? And she wants the students truly to embody that kind of attitude. And there is one sentence that I remember that I kind of adopted, as my inspiration from a speech, a 2014 speech that was titled "The Path to the True World of Peace," to the future world of peace. And it says, we always must train ourselves to experience and remain awake to the fact that God is always with us, dwelling with us, and He experiences joys and sorrows with us. But she said also, always be joyful and pray incessantly. And so actually during my studies, I determined, okay, I'm really going to ask Heavenly Parent, that's the way we like to call God in our church, to be part of my studies. And I did that. I prayed even, please help me find the right sources and help me come up with the right things to write. And I was really amazed that he did. And I shared that with some of my teachers, that I really felt inspired to write what I wrote. I don't know about this speech tonight, but anyway, I'm going a little bit all over the place. But, okay, where was I? So, yeah, I actually am convinced that, like Dr. Walsh said, students really have a very important responsibility once they graduate. When we are in school, we are responsible to our own self in terms of the success of our studies. But once we once we graduate, then we are responsible to the school, because the reputation of the school benefits from what we can accomplish in our communities and in the world. So I want to strive to do my best, to keep on writing. Actually, that's what I like to do, right? Better than speaking. But yeah, so I want to really try to be a testimony to the school that has given me so much in terms of education for the mind and the heart. And so thank you so much to all.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Allen, for your courage and for blessing us today. At this time, I'd like to invite up Mr. John Kester, a recipient of the Master of Arts in Peace Studies degree, to speak on behalf of the graduates with the MA in Peace Studies. Let's welcome him.
Good afternoon, members of the faculty, Ambassador Detrani, students, my fellow classmates, and all guests, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to stand before you today. I'm very honored to represent my class, the first class in the MA of Peace Studies, with whom I had the pleasure of spending the last 2.5 years gaining this educational foundation. My journey with HJI was one through which I saw tremendous growth. First, through serving as a case officer with my provincial tribunal back home in Canada, that's from where I'm from. Then interning with the United Nations Department of Peace Operations here in New York, and now serving as the UN Advocacy Advisor of the International Association of Youth and Students for Peace. I want to give credit to this institution for preparing me for this place where I am today, guiding me through all these experiences and how it could amount to something bigger than I initially dreamed, for empowering me and realizing how we all have unique attributes through which we have something to contribute. I hope all my fellow graduates recognize the potential that we all have, the combination of our shared experience and unique perspectives from which we now move forward. I initially enrolled in the religious studies program, but a few months before I was to start, I was informed of this program by Dr. Familaro, whom I must greatly thank. I instantly knew that this was the right fit for me. In the preceding year, in following my undergraduate education, which was also in peace studies, I had been seeking for the right graduate program to continue my studies, but was disappointed with the programs that I had found. I did not have much faith in the conventional approaches within peace studies, which emphasized more often than not economics or politics. This program at HJI, however, offered me the opportunity to continue my education in this field in such a manner that acknowledged the religious dimension, particularly from the unificationist perspective, as well as emphasize the work of civil society that has been often in the backdrop behind peace processes. It's something that does not receive much attention from academia and the media. For example, during my thesis on French and German reconciliation following World War II, I learned about the integral role pastors played in all over Europe who were the first to advocate for reconciliation, laying the groundwork for politicians to build upon. The program also deepened my understanding of the founders of this institution and their practical approach to transcending societal barriers. Father and Mother Moon emphasized the importance of engaging in dialogue with everyone. Whether it was North Korea or the Soviet Union, this approach emphasizes true diplomacy, talking to everyone and never giving up. I believe this quote from Condoleezza Rice is fitting. Former US Secretary of State, she had said in her memoirs, "One of the hardest things about diplomacy is to put yourself into someone else's shoes without compromising your own principles." This speaks to the importance of understanding others while staying true to oneself and your beliefs. This is not just limited to diplomacy, but also how we interact with each other. I believe this program captured that essence, seeking realistic solutions to conflicts while aspiring towards ideals we seek to realize and remaining connected to the spiritual core that is present within us all. I want to thank Dr. Ward and all the professors for their fascinating courses that questioned what we believed and how we viewed conflict, encouraging us to take ownership of how we can contribute both individually and collectively. Finally, I want to express my gratitude for this opportunity itself, and thank you again to all the faculty, my classmates, and my family. It was a true pleasure to be part of this pioneering program.
Thank you, Mr. Kester. John Kester also served as the president of our Graduate Student Council this year, and so we're so proud of you. At this time, I would now like to invite up Ms. Silvana Vanette Colmenares, a recipient of the Doctor of Ministry degree, to speak on behalf of the graduates of the Doctor of Ministry program. Let us welcome her.
I have my speech. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed faculty, proud parents, and above all, fellow graduates. It's a real treat to be standing here today as a comrade in this grand adventure we fondly refer to as graduate studies. As a DMIN graduate, we all hopped on this roller coaster ride with a shared love for knowledge, an insatiable curiosity, and a fiery passion to contribute to our fields of study. Today, we've reached the end of this ride, a journey filled with sweat, grit, and more cups of coffee or tea than we can count. Our journey was not just about the destination, the degree, but about the roller coaster ride. And what a ride it was! We were not just students, but comrades in arms. Who said religion classes was a snooze fest? With our eclectic mix of professors, it was more like a theme park. My time in HJI was not just memorable, it was a joyride. Okay. For future HJI students, let me give you a piece of what to expect. We have an academe fashionista professor who wears the seasons on his tie. Memorable, if it's Hanukkah, you know what season it is. It's red hats for Christmas and autumn leaves for fall. Then there's Mr. Encouragement, who is a confidence booster with his "Hello, you awesome people," and often says amazing, wonderful when you talk to him, when you give your comments. And let's not forget our Professor Agree, who bobbles his head and keeps on saying, "Yes, you're right, you're right, you're right." But beware of the Professor Hawk-eyed. If you're not paying attention and you're a slacker, he'll spot you faster than a hawk spots a mouse. So stay alert. He means business. And believe me, our professors are the wind beneath our wings, who instilled in us the confidence to soar, guided us through turbulent times, and pushed us to reach new heights. Our learning journey was nothing short of spectacular. Our colleagues are the co-pilots on this journey, who inspired us, collaborated with us, and occasionally shared a cup of commiseration coffee or tea. And to our family and friends, they were our cheerleaders who believed in us even when we had moments of self-doubt. As we stand in the precipice of a new chapter, let's pause for a moment to look back at the mountain we've climbed and appreciate the journey that brought us here. Let's raise a toast not just to our achievements, but to the resilience, determination, and spirit of inquiry that were our faithful companion on this journey. And as we step into the future, let's take the wisdom we've gained along with us. Let's keep the flame of curiosity alive. Continue to explore the unknown and break new ground with our innovation. Let's harness our knowledge and skills to leave an indelible mark, not just in our fields, but in the world. Dear fellow graduates, today we stand here and not merely as holders of Doctor of Ministry, but as thought leaders, trailblazers, and pioneers. We are the living testament of the transformative power of knowledge, the enduring value of tenacity, and the boundless potential within each one of us for greatness. So, let's go forth, armed with our degrees and fueled by our passion. Let's make our mark. Let's change the world. Because if not us, then who? If not now, then when? To God be the glory. Congratulations, class of 2024. We did it. Thank you.
You did it. Thank you, Ms. Colmenares. She is our vibrant storyteller and our motivator. We're so proud of you. Congratulations. So at this moment, let us now take a moment to express our appreciation to the members of the HJI faculty, staff, administration, and board. I would kindly like to ask them to please rise and be recognized. Please rise. Thank you so much. I also want to take a moment, of course, so many of our graduates wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the love and support and encouragement of our family and friends. Many of you are gathered here today, but as you could see from those in absentia, we're truly an international community, and we have many people joining us online as well. So if we could put up the picture of those on Zoom, and we just want to take a moment for all of our family and friends. Your support has been invaluable to the success that you're witnessing today. Without you, many of us would not be here. We love you, and we thank you for all of your encouragement today. So let us give everyone a round of applause. Thank you so much. If you want to turn on your screens, those of you on Zoom can do that. All right, thank you. Okay, we have actually a couple more awards and recognitions at this time. I would like to now call on Dr. Thomas Ward, our HJI Provost, to recognize the Theta Alpha Kappa inductees. So let us welcome Dr. Ward.
Thank you, Dean Desatel. Congratulations to all of our graduates. It's my pleasure to talk a little bit about Theta Alpha Kappa. It's the official academic honor society, national honor society, to recognize students for outstanding academic achievement in the study of religion and society. Theta Alpha Kappa is affiliated with the American Academy of Religion and the Society of Biblical Literature. At this time, I'd like to read the names of all those who are being inducted into Theta Alpha Kappa. And let me just mention that this is a society that is for students in the areas of religion and theology. It's not for the area of peace studies. We're still working on peace studies, John Kester and Honorable Eknat, but that day will come. But right now, this is for all of our religious studies students that we're recognizing them. So our new student inductees into Theta Alpha Kappa for the year 2024 are Dase Diarra, Michael Dickerson, Charles M. Dixon, Rudolph Ferber, Magnus Larson, and Ronald J. Papalardo. If we could give all of them a round of applause. Thank you. And I'd also like to recognize from amongst those who are graduating today who are already inducted into Theta Alpha Kappa, I'd like to recognize Dr. Uman Abraham, Dr. Prasad Abraham, Bruna Allen, Dr. Silvana Vanette Colmenares, Mark Lincoln, Dr. Edric McNair, yeah, and Dr. Mara Vera Montebon. Congratulations to all of you. Now, if I can just try your mind for a minute, Dr. Walsh, I'd like to do one other thing because I promised to do this. This year, the Alpha Nu Pi chapter of Theta Alpha Kappa helped to co-sponsor our annual research day, and we had promised that we were going to read the names of those who were our awardees this year and those who won honorable mention. So for faculty, I'd like to recognize Dr. Kesuke Noda for his project entitled Hermeneutics as an Open Dialogical Platform for Competing Final Vocabularies of Religious Communities. And I'd like to recognize as honorable mention Dr. Drissa Kone's project Towards a Unification Theory of Peace and Conflict. So congratulations, faculty winners. And secondly, I would like to recognize amongst our students for their research projects, Mr. Giorgio Gasparone for his project, which was on complex analysis of Serbia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Disputes in the Western Balkan Context. And if you want to know what that's about, please watch the tape, okay? And I'd also like to recognize our honorable mentions. There are 5 of them. I'm not going to mention their topics, but those are available to you on the HJI website. Christopher Kennedy, James Edgerly, Tomas Zizowski, Maria Gabriela Tomasini, and Uri Lida. So congratulations and thanks to all of you for participating in this year's competition. And at this time, it's my pleasure to invite to the podium our Dean of Enrollment Management and Student Life, Dean Stephen Boyd. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ward. My first name is Student. Mr. President, it is I'm charged now with announcing the names of the winners of our 2 student awards. They don't know who they are. You might be one of them. We have 2 awards that we offer annually. One is a Distinguished Service Award for voluntary service and sacrifice, making the greatest impact within the HCI community, and a Public Service Award for making the greatest impact in representing HCI in international civil society. So first, the Distinguished Service Award. Our winner, you might hear something you've heard before on the stage today, is a member of the first HCI class or cohort of Peace Studies. He has been an honors student at HJI. He has served in a key role in the HJI student government as president of the Graduate Council. During his studies at HJI, he continued to work for the provincial government of Ontario in Canada. This was followed by interning while still at HJI at the United Nations peacemaking operations at UN headquarters in New York. During his time at HJI, he also played a key role in supporting the development of the International Association of Youth for Peace, and he now serves as the YSP liaison officer to the UN Economic and Social Council, where IAYSPE holds special consultative status. For his service to his home country, Canada, to the UN, UPF, and HJI, the recipient of this year's Distinguished Service Award is awarded to John Kester. Our second award, as I mentioned, is the Public Service Award. The winner of this award is one of HCI's outstanding students and is also one of the members of the first graduating cohort of the Masters of Arts in Peace Studies. At the time of entering HJI, he served as the national leader of the Family Federation for World Peace in Costa Rica. And he also fulfilled Universal Peace Federation responsibilities in the Central American region. In 2023, he was called back to Korea to join the headquarters staff of Family Federation for World Peace International. 1 year ago, he was chosen to serve as the special assistant to Dr. Chang Sik Yang, the international chair of the Universal Peace Federation, for his leadership role in the Family Federation and UPF in Costa Rica and Central America, and for his leadership he has provided in the Family Federation for World Peace International and UPF International. The Public Leadership Award is presented to Man Ho Woo in absentia. Manho is actually online today, so congratulations, Manho.
As we come to the close of our program, I would like to invite up our singer who overcame the traffic in New York City and was able to make it here today. Let's welcome up Mr. Raul Joseph.
David Eaton, who is here with us today. Thank you, David, for such a wonderful song. This song has a great message for our graduates today. Hope you enjoy it.
There's a spirit that's moving America from New York to LA and DC. It's the spirit of love that's calling every We've got to come together to save this blessed land. We could end all the hate if we wanted to. We could build a new world if we tried. With a vision of hope to guide us on our way. We'll create a new tomorrow and defy
God bless you all. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph. What beautiful lyrics and for bringing in the spirit. And now as we bring our program to a close, we're going to seal it off with a benediction from our Chair of Board of Trustees, Dr. Franco Famularo.
Thank you. Let us pray. O God, our Heavenly Parent, we're grateful today that we could gather here for this important commencement ceremony and to witness the graduation of these students who have labored hard to earn their degrees and to embark upon this effort to establish a better world. We know that in the current circumstances, we really need peace and public leadership. We need people who can take initiative, be inspired with your vision of a better world. we thank you so much for all the grace and blessings that you have bestowed upon us today, for the words of Ambassador Joseph Detrani, who graced us with his presence and also shared deep insights about how peace can truly come about. And we're grateful for all the efforts of the faculty, the staff, the administration, the Board of Trustees, and everyone that has contributed to this event today. May each one go out with deep joy in their hearts, with the inspiration that is required to transform this world so that we can truly make this a better place to live. In New York City, in the United States of America, a country that has been greatly blessed to lead the charge toward a better world. And for all of humankind who live in so many circumstances, challenging and otherwise, all over the world, that our young people here, present, and who are joining us virtually from around the world can truly partake in this mission to bring about into reality the vision of our founders. Thank you so much. We pray for your blessing on each one, and we offer this prayer in the name of Jesus and all the saints and our true parents, and my name, Amen and Adieu.
Thank you, Dr. Famularo. As we close this ceremony, I'd like to give another speech. No. I'd like to congratulate all of our graduates today of the class of 2024. Once again, let's just give them a round of applause. And to our wonderful MC today, our Associate Dean Deshotel, Dean of Student Life, if you kindly guide us through the recessional and what follows. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. So for those of you who are maybe listening at the beginning, I'm going to reiterate, we have refreshments, a lot of refreshments. I was told to, make sure everybody knows we've got refreshments. We really want you to enjoy your time here. We really appreciate you coming and celebrating our graduates. And so the refreshments can be found across from the foyer in the blue room. For our graduates, for our faculty, staff, for our stage party, after you leave through the recession, you'll be asked to come back, so don't run away to the refreshments yet. Also, for those who have family members or friends, I know you want to take pictures. We kindly just ask, don't go too far, because we want to invite everyone to come back in to take official photos. All right. So now at this time, I'd like to invite everyone to please rise. And Dr. Mickler, as the mace bearer, please lead us in the recession. So the stage party is going to go off first, followed by the faculty and the staff, and then by our students. All right, let's begin.